So I think you're going to enjoy this story. It's about dogs and it's about the wisdom of a child. What could be better? We once took care of a neighbor's dog and we shared about, took care of this dog for about 3 days. And then for the final 3 days of the dog's care, the neighbors across the street took care of that dog. And so for the 3 dogs that we took care of it, we walked it about 3 times a day. Every time we went there, instead of it wanting to eat, and this dog loved to eat, but every time we went to walk to go over to the house to feed it, it was ready at the door and it wanted to go for a walk instead. And then it would eat and drink all its water, and it would be so happy, and then it would go lay down in the living room area like, okay, I'm done, you can go now. So when it came time to pass the torch to the neighbors, we really didn't kind of want to because we just loved taking care of this dog. It was just kind of fun having a dog again, and at least just for a temporary time, because we've both my husband and I have had dogs and cats, and we love them both. We don't have any favorites among them, but we've just had cats for years. So the neighbors, we passed the torch on to the neighbors, and that was in the form of a garage door opener. So I was out later in that day, and I was just watering some of the flowers and taking care of some of the roses in the front yard, and I heard this little voice, call my name and to say hello, and I turned around, and it was the 8-year-old girl who lived across the street, and she was there to feed the dog, and it was that time of day. And she said, I said, so you here to feed him? And she goes, yeah. She says, I took care of him earlier and I'm here again. And she goes, he likes me because I'm a small child and he likes small children. And I said, well, I can understand why he likes you. But he likes us too, and we're not small children. She says, he likes everybody. So I think I took that as a compliment. But she's just so cute. She's so sweet. She's very smart and brilliant. I've had many conversations with her, and she's an amazing young girl. And I imagine what she's going to be like when she grows up. She's going to be magnificent, and she already is. But the wisdom that she speaks is so forthright and so true, and she's funny too. She's just as cute as she can be. So it made me think of my dog Rufus. Rufus was my dog for 8 years. I found him in a pet store, and I remember they handed him to me, and I couldn't not take him home. I'd had a dog like him before, and he was a Lhasa Apso, and a Lhasa Apso is the guard dog in the palaces of Tibet, or was. I don't know if they still have guard dogs there or not, but they were at one time. It was the traditional guard dog, and they're called a lion. I think they're called a lion dog, but and he was a little tiny dog, but for a Lhasa, he was a pretty good sized dog. He was about 25 pounds, and he had a very deep bark. So if somebody came to the door and he would bark and bark and bark at him, his, being very ferocious and being protective of me, and I'd open the door and people would be expecting to see a big dog, and they'd look down and go, I thought he was really a big dog. And he said, no, he just has a big bark. So he was really cute. And Rufus was the kind of dog, he was so funny. He didn't like everybody, but he was always very congenial about it, I guess you could say. But he would just sit there and kind of sit off to the side, and he'd look at people and he'd look at them a certain way. And I had friends that say, you know what? He doesn't like me, does he? And I said, no, he doesn't. And he would never bite or growl or anything. He just had a look like, I don't like you. So he was really funny. But Rufus was my dad loved fuzzy things. He loved cats and he loved dogs, and he loved Rufus. And I lived out of state for 3 years and took Rufus with me. And there was a time when I had come to see my dad and came to visit, and then I returned back to Michigan. And shortly after that, my dad had a stroke. And so I couldn't come back at that time, and it wouldn't have done any good because my dad was in recovery and he went through all the rehab and everything, and there wasn't anything I could have done. So I waited for several months until he was feeling pretty good and he kind of got himself back on track again. And so I brought Rufus, I flew back And this was maybe 6 months after the time I was there. Before that, and this time I brought Rufus with me. And I called my stepmom and I said, I'm coming on this specific day. And I asked her, of course, if it was okay. And she said, oh, yeah, it'd be great. Great that you're going to be here. And so I said, I won't stay with you. I'll stay with a friend, so you don't have to worry about me at all. I'll just come and visit and, come several times. But I'm bringing Rufus. And my dad loved the dog. So flew Rufus out, on the plane, and friend picked me up at the airport and took me out there. And I told her, I'll be here at a certain time, and just have Dad answer the door. Don't answer the door. Let him answer the door. So I heard her say, hey, Bob, you just get the door, when I rang the doorbell. And Rufus was right there on his leash and opened the door, and he was surprised to see me, but he opened the door to let me in, and he didn't expect to see Rufus, and Rufus walked in, and my dad goes, Rufus! Oh, hi, Artis. So I went back to work. I went back to Michigan after visiting for a few days, and my dad loved visiting Rufus. But I told my friends in Michigan about this. And I worked part-time as a graphic designer, and I worked part-time in a flower shop. And it was approaching Valentine's Day or the Christmas holidays. I don't remember which it was. But those were really busy times, and we'd work all night long because this was one of 2 or 3 flower shops. I think it was one of 2 flower shops in the city. And so we worked very, very hard, and we would, all night long we would work. And so when at times like that, I brought Rufus with me to the flower shop, and he'd just hang out. I just make sure he was kind of in a place where he didn't get under anybody's foot or anything. But they knew Rufus was coming, and so the workroom that we had was down in the basement, and it was in this really tall old building that was probably built around the late 1800s or something. And it was a glorious, main floor where all the displays and everything were. It was really a great shop. And then we had to walk down the stairs to get into the basement. And everyone saw Rufus coming down, and I didn't expect this, but we walked down the stairs, and Rufus was ahead of me on the leash, and everybody goes, Rufus! Oh, hi, Artis. So I kind of had this reputation of Rufus was the preceding one and the one of most importance in the relationship with me and Rue. So here he is. He was a beautiful little dog, and he just looked just like this. It's just a sweet little dog. This is a pastel painting that I did, and I gave this to my dad. So he would have it on his wall all the time, and Rufus was always with him. So where do you love somebody so much that they are like for you? And where is it that you can celebrate in your life where you just are so happy to see that person, or happy to see that animal, or happy to be in this place, happy to be with those people? We have lots of friends like that, lots of people we just love to be with, and lots of family members we love to be with, and it's just such a celebration to be with them. And then to find that within yourself as well, so you can celebrate being with yourself and doing things that you love, reading or studying or working hard or gardening or taking a walk outside or celebrating life, taking a drive in the country, traveling to your favorite destination, loving life. It's easy, really, celebrating. Loving everybody. Loving like the neighborhood dog. He liked everybody. And this little girl knew it. She knew it. And she lived it. And this is kind of who she is, too. Every time you see her, she's waving her hands and saying hello and making sure you walk outside and she sees you right away and she waves. Life is so good for her. She's amazing. She's beautiful. And she's smart. And she's fabulous. And the people next door have children the same way. And the people that used to live next door to us to children in the same way. Life is good. Boy, we can just live like little children, right? Live like animals and know. So may you celebrate you. May you celebrate your life. May you celebrate someone in your life that celebrates you. Life is good. And we're all in this together. Love you bunches. Bye for now.